The Bounty Board. A call for adventure lies in every firelit tavern across Azeroth in the form of written pleas and offered rewards of loot, bounties, and fame. Heroes are challenged by the cries of the townspeople to confront the horrors that plague their lands, demanding that you quell the evil that threatens their safety. A grand responsibility is invoked by taking on such bounties, but with this responsibility also comes a promise for an exciting journey for the hero to undertake. Will they survive? What will they learn about themselves? Who will they meet? And who will they potentially kill? A call for an adventure lies before you. Will you take it? Hello, my name's Obidiah, and I'll be your host for today's tutorial in creating a campaign in TRP3 Extended. In today's tutorial, we will be making this ancient relic of leveling interactive once more for tavern dwellers who are looking to do more than just drink fine spirits on a dark Duskwood evening. The sequence of the campaign will be centered around the bounty board. Utilizing an item near the bounty board will display the contents of the bounty board on a document, housing a variety of quests. This bounty board for our campaign will display 3 bounties that can be picked up simultaneously from the campaign board. These quests will send you into the black heart of Duskwood to locate and slay 3 terrible monsters who pose threats to Darkshire and its inhabitants. The maddened ghoul plaguing Tranquil Cemetery. The Rotten One, a festering beast, harbored in the gloomy dusky caverns of the mountains just east of Darkshire. Terrible spider Neuroxus. And finally, the lonely and icy artifact of the once living, the Unknown Soldier. You will have to slay these creatures and loot their identifying item to prove that you have ridden the land of their presence. However, these NPCs will have their own custom names in our campaign, and along with the new title, Custom Lore. Let's begin our journey by creating the framework for the overall campaign and begin our first step in creating a quest to kill the Rotten One. So to get started with this campaign, what we'll be doing first is using an item that I've made called Interact. This is in my hero's inventory, and is basically an item that I can use anywhere in the world to see if there's something that can be interacted with. When you right click it, it'll show a cast time bar, after which it'll run a workflow to see if you were in the correct position or targeting the correct target for an interaction to happen. I will create an interaction between this item and the location that the bounty board is, so that when you use it, it'll display the bounty board itself. However, it will only display the bounty board if you have accepted the campaign called Bounty Board in Duskwood. Let's go ahead and create the campaign right now. So the first thing that we do is we go down to the Create Campaign option, and we'll be creating a blank campaign with a blank canvas. Completely fresh and all new. Let's go ahead and give our campaign name the Bounty Board. And we'll also give it a little bit of a descriptor to let people know that it's specifically the one in Duskwood. We can also add a quick campaign summary and change the image as well. Finally, we can add some campaign NPC lists as well, which we'll do in just a second. I've gone ahead and created the campaign summary as well as adding a custom icon that shows Duskwood. Campaign summary reads, a forlorn bounty board lies just outside the heart of the Scarlet Raven Inn. Old and brittle parchment papers litter the board, detailing the horrors of the plagued lands surrounding this cozy establishment. The townspeople are crying out for a hero to vanquish the following, ... You can see here if we actually load up the campaign that I've accepted already, just to test out what it looks like, we get this. Unfortunately, this is about the limit of the campaign summary at the beginning. We can also see that we already have an available quest that's auto-generated called New Quest, which we'll obviously name in just a second. This first quest will be for our Rotten One. So for our first quest, we're killing the ghoul that lies just inside the Tranquil Garden Cemetery, inside the cathedral. Its in-game name is called Insane Ghoul, but we want to change its name to a custom NPC name called the Rotten One. To do so, we pull out our extended database, go into our campaign on the main tab where we see Campaign NPC List. Here we can create a customized NPC. We'll have to list the NPC's ID and the NPC's name that we want to create as a custom name, as well as we can add a description of the mob itself. Now, to find out the actual NPC ID, we can do a quick shortcut by typing in TRP3 ID. Actually, it's TRP3 get ID. There we go, creature 511. So if we go back into our database, type in 511, and the other nifty trick is that if you're already targeting the NPC as I am right now, even though you can't see it, and open this up, it'll auto-generate the NPC ID for you. So let's go ahead and give it the custom name, the Rotten One. And I'll go ahead and choose an image as well as a description. So I've gone ahead and given it a description as well as an image. So if we save all of this, save our progress, when we look at this creature, it should say the Rotten One. Now on the left hand side, you see that this target frame is actually an add-on called RP tags, and currently doesn't support this functionality. However, my actual toolbar tooltip shows the correct name of the ghoul that we just set up, called the Rotten One, as well as the image that I applied to it and the description. I'm using LVUI so I could customize this tooltip to have the text be a little bit larger. But right now, I just wanted to make sure that we created the custom NPC. So now that we've created our custom NPC, let's go ahead and create our first quest. I want this quest to be called the Rotten One. I can give a brief summary that just says something like this. You must venture out to the tranquil cemetery to locate and slay the vile Rotten One. I want this quest to be auto-revealed because I don't want there to be any additional work in trying to find this quest. It's a bounty board after all. All the bounties should be already posted to the board. Furthermore, I want this to have progression so that as we finish slaying the 3 individual monsters, it'll show us a completion of, let's say if we've killed 2, it'll show us a completion rate of 66%. Now over on the right hand side, we have quest objectives. What quest objectives are used for is simply displaying hints to the player for solving and finishing the current quest. When you complete all objectives, this does not complete the quest itself. You still must finish the last quest step in the quest to complete the quest, and I'll get more on that later. But for right now, what we can do is add an objective. We first have to name the objective with an objective ID, so let's just call this int1. Let's give it the objective text of what will be displayed as go to the tranquil cemetery. And we'll have this one auto reveal. So now, if I go into my quest, which I conveniently have tracked up here, let's try resetting the quest real quick. There we go. It's because I didn't reset the quest. It says go to the tranquil cemetery as one of the quest objectives. So basically when I pull out my quest, I actually have a little bit of a hint of what to do next. Now, back on the main quest, the Rotten One that we have created so far, let's go over the different tabs. So next to main, we've pretty much done everything that we want to right now on this page. We have quest steps next to it. Quest steps are what both start and also finish the quest, essentially. Basically, you have quest steps that are the initial step, and then quests that are the final step. And once quests reach the final step, the quest is completed and will be marked as completed inside your quest log. Now then, each quest step can have its own inner objects, workflows, event leaks, and actions, just like each quest can have too. This can get rather confusing pretty quickly, so I advise that you establish some form of hierarchy, whether it be writing it down or simply just thinking about it hierarchically in your head so that you don't get lost and confused in your own campaign. The way that I typically do quests is I establish one quest step that's just called final that will be used as a placeholder as the final step to cue the end of the quest. For today's purposes, that means I'm going to have roughly 3 steps. Now then, I'm going to rename each of these so that we can have a better idea of the progression of this quest. This first one is going to be called Step 1, Kill. The next quest is going to be called Step 2, Return. And then this final quest is going to be called Step 3, Final. So Step 1 is essentially going to tell us that we need to go kill the rotten one. Once we've killed rotten one and looted its identifying item, which maybe will be a finger of the ghoul or a tooth or, I don't know, something dark, we can transition the quest to step 2, which will then tell the player, return back to the bounty board or some other NPC in Darkshire and show proof that you slayed the beast. Once you've shown proof that you slayed the beast, it will trigger step 3 final, which this one will be counted as the final step, and you can read the tool text here. It says that the quest will automatically be marked as completed in the quest log when this quest step is reached. Now that we have these 3 steps, let's go ahead and edit our first quest step. This one is automatically given to us, so let's just go ahead and generate a quest log entry that'll show up in our quest logs. Something like that. Once we save, let's go ahead and just reset our campaign. Make sure that everything is running properly. If we go into our quests, it automatically gives us the chance to start the rotten one. If we click on this, it says the town of Darkshire is tired of hearing the mad sounds of the rotten one. Venture to the southeast and slay the rotten beast. Quest objectives. Go to the tranquil cemetery. So you can now have a visual representation of what is displayed. The rotten one and the brief description are both in the quest main page, as well as the quest objective. The quest overview, however, is within the quest step itself, and this section right here will change each time we change a quest step. Now we can start interacting with the step 1 workflows and event links and actions. The workflows are the things that are triggered by items, by event links, or even by actions, and will be the meat of the code that run the inner workings of our campaign. Event links provide different scenarios for workflows to trigger depending either on object event links, such as when the quest step starts, it can run a workflow, when we leave the quest step, it can trigger a workflow, or with game event links. I'm experienced in using the left-hand side of the screen, but not so much using game event links, and I encourage you guys to explore this area if you want to learn more about it. Finally, actions. Actions is the toolbar that we have on our screen that's 4 buttons in length that allow us to talk, interact, listen, and inspect. And while we're on a campaign, we have access to these buttons and use them to trigger certain workflows. So we do want to add an action for our current quest, and that action is going to be an interact. We want to interact with the corpse of the rotten one once we've slain it so that we can obtain the identifying item. I currently don't have any workflow. I'm going to save this for right now. It has no link and therefore it doesn't do anything for right now, but we'll come back to it in just a second. Let's go ahead and establish our workflow. This workflow will be called RO for rotten one, and then on death. So I want this workflow to run once we've killed the rotten one, and we want to interact with its body to pick up the identifying item. So first we'll play a condition. We want to make sure that the unit name of the target is equal to insane ghoul. Now we're using the string value of the old NPC. I'm not sure if it'll work with the current custom NPC. We can check that out in just a second. Furthermore, I want to make sure that the unit target isn't alive still. We'll set this to a Boolean value of being true. The failure message, if these aren't met, is going to be something like that. So if these conditions aren't met, this workflow won't run. I have to be targeting the ghoul, and the ghoul has to be dead. Once that happens, I want to add a cast that'll display certain text, just to give it the element that my character is doing something in the meantime as he's checking for the identifying item. We'll make it 2 seconds long, and the cast text will be booting item. Feel free to change this to whatever you like. We'll go back and change cast sounds later. We want this to be interruptible on move. Go ahead and save it. And this is what we have so far. Now, we can actually link this to our workflow. So when we interact, click the interact button, we can actually link it to RO on death. Excellent. So let's go ahead and venture out and find the insane ghoul again. Excellent. So now we're back. We have our custom NPC tooltip. When we click on them, we'll see that our 4 buttons pop up of talking, inspecting, listening, and interacting. If we try to interact with them right now, it'll say you haven't selected an adequate target, and that's because we haven't met the second condition, which is it needs to be dead. Once we've killed it, however, and try clicking the button once more, it displays the looting item. But nothing else happens, and that's because we haven't coded it to have anything else happen. Let's go ahead and change that right now. Under inner objects, we can create a new item. Let's just call it ghoul finger. Let's go into the object, give it the actual name, give it an image, give it a rarity as well. Let's go ahead and put a quest flag on it just so you know that it's using it. Oh, it should start a quest. Never mind, let's go ahead and take that off. Let's just say quest item important. No, let's not do that. Let's just say the finger of the once maddened ghoul that plagued the tranquil cemetery. Soulbound will make it unique, and we'll give it the sound of meat. Go ahead and save. Excellent. Let's go back into our quest step by just clicking this button up here. Let's go into our workflow. Once this delay happens, I want it to display loot. But here we can say, I'll do that once more, sorry, just a little bit slower. We can go into inventory and go show/drop loot. We can name the source of it, and let's just say rotten one. And give it an image. We can make it the ghoul again, or even just the hand. We can click on these empty spaces to actually put in an item. Let's just search in for an item now. We only want one. There we go. This will show this. And then once we've looted it, we can also have this change the quest step, because it's now officially completed our first quest step, which was just to kill it and to loot the beast. So let's go ahead and go into Effect, Campaign, Change Quest Step. So we have to remember the quest step ID. Or you can just browse and select the one that you want to change to, which was step 2, return. Confirm. I often like adding in a little bit of just a pause in between this happening, because I usually play a little bit of music as well, just so that the player isn't overwhelmed with things. Let's see what happens once we play this out. You have the ghoul here. Let's walk up and attack it. Now we're going to interact with it. And we can loot all. We can see here that our quest overview isn't the same as the one from the first quest step. It says new quest step, which means that we've transitioned to the second quest step for this campaign quest. For this second quest step, we want to go back to the town and interact with someone so that they know that we slayed the beast, and that will trigger the end of the quest. Back in Darkshire, we have the ability to choose an NPC that we want to display the finger to. I've always liked the commander of the Night Watch, however we know that she's had kind of a confusing and rather tragic past in which she turns against Darkshire in the lore. I'm not entirely certain of the lore, but I do know that she does turn against the Alliance at some point during the lore of the last expansion or two, I believe. Anyways, if you want to go ahead and follow along with the lore, we technically shouldn't be able to interact with this target. This gives us a good opportunity to take a step back, go back to our campaign, and create another custom NPC.
Need help?
We target her, and add custom NPC, we can give her a new name. Let's just say Bounty Board NPC. We'll make it quick and simple for right now. turn in quests here. And save. You see now it says Bounty Board NPC on the right hand side of my screen. This is the individual who we're going to want to turn into in the second quest step of our adventure. So if we go into our quests under Wanton 1, quest steps, second one, we'll say go back to town and find the Bounty Board NPC. And hit save. One other thing I'd like to point out is our old quest objective called Go to Tranquil Cemetery is still active as well. One way we can change that is to go into our quest. We have our hint 1 right here. Under our first quest step, we can actually complete hint 1 in our workflow, right under the part where we just changed our last quest step to. We go into Effect, Campaign, say Complete Objective. We can browse for the quest ID, which is the rotten one. The objective hint ID was hint 1, and it'll complete that for us. Excellent. So if we did this quest again now, that part would be completed. Now I also want to give them a hint of what to do with this NPC once they've gotten back to town. They'll have to talk to this NPC with the item in their inventory to be able to get the reward and transition to the final quest step. That sounds like it'd be a good hint to display in the second quest step. So let's add another objective, and let's call it hint 2. This will say, talk with the Bounty Board NPC to, let's say, display to get your reward. And this won't be auto-revealed. I only want this to be revealed once we finish the first quest step. Well, that's perfect. We learned that actually certain quest steps for their event links, when they leave them, can trigger a workflow. So let's create a new workflow called hint to display. Here, the only effect will be that it displays quest objective. And now we can tie that once we leave this quest step. Excellent. Alright, so I've reset the quest. We're on our first quest step. We have to go here and slay the insane ghoul. Once we've slain him and interact with it to get the item, perfect, we'd actually completed an objective and showed us that we had a new one. So if we just simply go into our quest now, it says go back to town and find the Bounty Board NPC. Talk with the Bounty Board NPC to get your reward. That seems pretty self-explanatory. I encourage you guys to do tests like this just to see how it comes across in your campaign frequently, so that way you're making sure that the player knows what to do at each step of the way. Now we can delve more into our second quest step, which is the one to return and talk to the NPC. So, we know we have an action that we want to do, it's talk. We want to link it to a workflow. But remember, we're in our second quest step now, and therefore don't have any active workflows that we can choose from. Let's go over to our workflow and create one. And we'll just call this Bounty NPC Talk. So, once we've initiated the action, this will link to that workflow. First thing we want to do is make sure that we're talking to the right target. This target's name is Commander Althea Ebenblock. Whoops. Perfect. Second thing we want to make sure is that inside our inventory, item units count, we want to have enough of the ghoul item, the finger. And we just want to say greater than or equal to. We want to set that to 1. The nice thing about the condition tests is you can actually preview them. You can both preview the value, and also preview the test. So if I preview the value, it tells me Commander Althea Ebenblock. If I preview the test, it says true, and I currently have her targeted. Furthermore, I can also test this item one as well. Excellent. If not, I can just say failure. Let's make it a little bit more helpful than that. You do not have the right amount of items or improper target. Once that happens, I want to go ahead and go into my inventory, and I want it to destroy the Ghoulfinger. This will be like I'm handing it over to them as proof. Then once that happens, I can go ahead and change the quest step to the final quest step in our quest, which is step 3 final right here. And that'll trigger the end of the quest. And let's go ahead and give the character a payout and say show drop loot. We can say reward. We'll make the image just one of gold. Or how about a treasure chest? We can browse for a coin. That will be a gold coin. We'll give 5 gold coins. It's a ludicrous amount, but we'll do that for right now. The one other thing we can do is we can add in a delay, like we did in the last time. It's a cast. Say the cast text is exchanging to, and it's interruptible on move. Let's go ahead and find a cast sound. Wildhead has a great compendium of noises that you can pick from, as well as has their cast sound IDs. This one is the sound of looting characters in Ashran, which I can play for you right now, which I rather like. About 3 seconds in duration, so we'll do it for that amount. So anyways, that noise will play as we're exchanging this item. We want to move this up a little bit. Right before it destroys the item, we get our gold. Excellent. So once that happens, it'll trigger our final quest step, which is step 3 final, and that will be the end of the quest. We show our loot. What I would like to do is actually rearrange things just a little bit. I want to put a 1 second delay between displaying the loot, we'll make it 2 seconds actually, and changing the quest step. And that's because I want to play a final note so that the loot shows. Maybe you have enough time to click on it, and then you hear that classic quest complete noise. So to do that, we can go into our final quest step. Under the event links, we have on quest step start, which is a good place to do it. Let's just go ahead and create a workflow under our final quest step and just call it sound. And we just want to play a simple sound. Under sound and music, play sound ID, and I remember this one off the top of my head, it's 619. And it plays the quest complete noise. You want to link it now to our quest step start. What that means is once we've reached the final quest step, it'll trigger this workflow, which will just play the sound. So we're currently in our second quest step, so we can finish the quest right now, but before we do, I want to make sure we get rid of the second objective once we finish. So inside our second quest step, under workflows, let's create int2 complete. Let's go ahead and add an effect to complete objective. And it was hint2. And basically we can tie that now to us leaving this quest step. Finally, we want to make sure that we link our talk action to the workflow. That was bounty NPC talk. So just to run through everything, we talk to this NPC target, it'll trigger this workflow, which will check to make sure we're targeting the right target and that we have the right amount of items in our inventory. After that, it'll destroy our Rotten One's finger, delay for 3 seconds to show the exchange and to give feedback to the player that they did it correctly. It'll show some loot, and then it'll delay for 2 seconds, and it'll change our quest step. Once our quest step, we leave this one, our second objective right here will complete, and we'll go into our third quest step. Once we've entered our final quest step, it will trigger the sound, and we'll finish up. Let's go ahead and see if it works. Excellent. So we can loot the item. You can see in our quest now that we've completely finished the bounty board, and that's because we only have one quest. Click on the quest. You can see the quest objectives that we completed, as well as the final quest step, which we haven't put in any kind of overview, and that's because it's finished. But we can change this later. That's going to be it for today's video. What I'm going to do in the meantime is spruce up the quest a little bit by adding in a little bit more pauses, sounds, and maybe a variety of other things, just to make it a little bit more interactive and to make it seem a little bit more streamlined for the players that want to progress through the quest. I encourage you guys to do the same and play around with the options that you have to make the quest more exciting, vivid, and rememberable. Finally, my next video will detail how we actually convert the bounty board into an interactable item, which again can display the quests that we're offering. Thanks so much for watching today, guys. I appreciate your time. Leave a comment down below of what you liked, what you didn't like, and what you want to learn in the future. Thank you all for joining, and I'll talk to you guys later.